Hello. And why is it my screen on in the background? That's on. But now, this isn't on. Okay, now. Go Streamlabs. Jesus Christ. So the last few weeks was ridiculous. I kept getting sick and fucked up. Or just tired. The last, 2, 3 weeks now. So the first thing that happened was I got everybody in Czech, like everybody I know in Czech Republic got some kind of flu. I've been hearing about it for like weeks before. They say it was going around, it was real bad, and I finally ended up with it. And that was the first thing that happened. The first thing that happened was I got the flu. But it really was like I've had worse illnesses. All my terrible illnesses have been in Czech Republic, and I was more sick I think like a year or two ago. That was the worst sick I ever had. Like up until like 2 years ago, I had never gotten ill I had never had a real fever. And when I mean a real fever, like I'm talking like you literally can't get warm. Either you're completely freezing or you're burning up under the covers kind of thing. I had never truly experienced that for like a day at a time until about it was like a year or two ago. That was the first time I ever got that. You just like shivering and it's just terrible. And you're just freezing no matter what you do. Either you're freezing or you're going to be burning up hot. It's one of the two. Then I thought I was going to have to go back to the US. Like the next week after that, I thought I was going to have to go to the US because I had a pain in my mouth, like right over here. And I don't know if anybody remembers, but years ago, I know I've shared this before. When I had my wisdom teeth come in, I was maybe like 20. I was 19 because I couldn't buy beer yet because I didn't start buying beer until I was working at another job. I was like 19 and my wisdom teeth had come in, right? But with my luck, I don't have the worst luck, but I have the weirdest luck. So with my luck, what happened was so for those of you who know wisdom teeth, they come in like two at the top back and two in the bottom back. Well, I had two in the top back and one in the back, and we didn't know where it was. Right? So what happened was they ended up doing an X-ray on it and found that the last wisdom tooth is like up here. It's like literally like up here somewhere, right? And so the conclusion we all came to is okay, just don't touch it because it's one of those things like as long as it's not causing a problem, like it's like back up in there, and it's so awkward to get out. It would be such a hassle to take out. Every dentist, everybody who looked at it said, yeah, you better off just leaving it alone until it actually causes a problem because that's going to be the hell to get out because it's like right in it's in the gum like up here, but like in order to get it out, it would just be like a horrible hassle to like dig it out, and just they would have to just rip out all my gum up there. It would just be terrible. So we just agree, okay, yeah, we're just not going to touch it. Just take the other three out. Well, a few weeks ago, I was getting pain up here. I was like, oh shit, let me tell you, it's the fucking tooth. It's the fucking tooth, right? I'm thinking, oh fuck. I was getting depressed. Like now I'm gonna have because I don't trust Czechs with dentistry. I was either gonna go to Germany or go back to America. I don't trust these motherfuckers. I don't trust Europe on a whole with anything. Here's the thing: Europe is great as long as you have basic level problems, and even then it's like kind of iffy. But Europe excels at basic level. If anything takes any more than 2 levels of thought, just don't even mess with them. Just go back to North America. I would rather pack my bags and spend $2,000 on a flight back to North America to have America figure this out instead of trust these motherfuckers with it. All right, I'm just being real about it. I've seen how they are with shit. That takes more than 2 levels of thought. They just crumble. It just so it's like fuck. I'm gonna have to fly back to America or go to a base in Germany. So I had called up my VA counselor, my new one. She's great. She actually just fixed my case, and now I got to sign paperwork tomorrow to get my money back, right? And I was like, yeah, I got a tooth problem. I think my tooth is coming. I got to go see a dentist. And she goes, okay, well, we'll set you up with at some base in Germany, whatever. Well, my mouth was literally hurting so bad. It had got to the point where it was depressing to think about having to eat because it just hurt like too bad to move anything up here. Then what happened was, then it got to the point where I couldn't even talk without being in just terrible pain. But if I left my mouth just not move, I was fine. But as soon as I started to move my lips, it just was this horrible pain. So I went to go get my son, and because she was out with him, and I went to go take him from her for a little bit. And I said, yeah, man, like my mouth is hurting. And she goes, what? I said, yeah, like I think my tooth is coming in. I might have to leave the country to go get this tooth taken out. And she's like, okay. And then like I said, if for some reason I just thought to show her what it was, show her where I think it is, and I showed her it was like red, and she goes, oh, that's not your tooth. That's like a shaft or something, whatever the word was in Czech. I'm like, what? What is that? And she goes, oh yeah, you don't know what shaft is? Or I don't know what the fuck she said. You don't know what shaft? Like, no, I don't know what that is. So she goes, she goes, I don't know the word in English. Let me just look it up in a translator real fast. So she pulls out her phone and gets on translator and she shows it to me. And it said, in the translation, that this is gonna be, now maybe I'm just a rare black dude. I told my dad the same problem and he said the same thing. But I'll get to that. She showed me the translation on Google Translate, and it said canker sore. I'm like, canker sore? Black people don't get canker sores. Has anybody ever heard of a black person getting a canker sore? I called my dad because my dad thought I was going to go back to America. I told him. I called my dad, told him, I said, yeah, no, I had a canker sore. I said, have you ever heard of a black person getting a canker sore? He said, no, I ain't never heard of a black person getting that white people get canker sores. Black people don't get canker sores. And it was a canker sore. So we went to the pharmacy. See, okay, the pharmacy here is a bit different than in North America, right? In North America, at least where I lived in North America, pharmacy, you didn't go to a pharmacist to ask for medical help. All right, you didn't do that in the rich neighborhoods, poor neighborhoods. You don't go. At least it was in my culture. We didn't go to the pharmacist to go ask for medical help. But it is just different. So out here, you can go to the pharmacist to ask them about medical help. So I walked up in there. I just ate this poppy seed pastry that's actually delicious here. So I had like poppy seeds all in my teeth, but my mouth was hurting so bad I didn't give a fuck. I went up to the front desk, got the pharmacist. It was a cute little girl too. I said, hey, do you know what this is? And I pulled it there. And I had shit all in my mouth. Because I couldn't move my mouth. I was hungry. And she goes, oh yeah, that's scarf. Yeah, you need this ointment. And in about 2 days, you'll be all right. I'm like, are you sure? Because this shit hurts and don't get my hopes up. Right. Motherfucker had me looking like Bubba Gump. I couldn't even move my body. Look, I was like, I was walking around like I couldn't even move it. Because it hurt too bad. It had me looking like Bubba from Forrest Gump. Had me walking around proud. It was fucked up. That's what it was. About 2-3 days, I was all the way back to normal. I could eat normally without having a panic attack from the pain. Then, the next week, I cooked some chicken, which I made delicious, by the way, but it made us sick. so I know I didn't undercook it because I always overcook it. I always put it at 200 degrees Celsius for at least an hour in the oven, at minimum. Like on the low end, it'll stay in there for a total of an hour, and made her sick. It made me more sick than it made her, but I was pretty fucked up. So those were the trials and tribulations of your boy. So while I was down all that time, I got into emulation, like video games, because I had never thought to sit down. I had never had the patience to really sit down and look at it that hard, like with the Nintendo shit. Because there was so many games I had always wanted to play for like 3DS that I just never got the chance. I never owned a 3DS, and I always wanted one. And I always look on Facebook Marketplace to see if somebody's selling one for like crazy cheap, because I'd buy it. But I just could never bring myself to spend $200 on a 3DS over here. That's what they charge for, in Facebook places and these used places. I can never bring myself to spend $200 on. So I said, fuck it. And so I was just so bored because I kept being sick off and on, and I was just tired of being sick. So I started looking at emulation. And I fucking figured out how to do it on a Mac and Windows. So like now I'm playing at least trying so many games that I always wanted to play, but I never got the chance because I never owned anything outside of a Game Boy Color. And Nintendo was fucking great. Nintendo's amazing. I'm team Nintendo. As long as I could get that shit for free. I'm not paying $60 for a 15-year-old game. Well, you can't even buy the games. Oh, let me go. What's up, Elijah? Let me read these comments real fast. What's up, Rainier? I probably butchered that. What's up, man? Jan, what's up, man? I'm glad you're feeling better. Is it true that a woman would fuck anybody? Oh yeah, women really don't care. It's just as long as the guy's not like it's just really about timing. When it comes to that, man, women don't get the same satisfaction from that men get. Like men get satisfaction from fucking because this woman just looks good, or the guy's just really horny. But we get more like that sense of completion if it's a beautiful woman. Women don't get any of that shit. Women just try to pretend they do because they try to pretend to be whatever they think. Women try to pretend to measure up to whatever they think men do to measure up in the world. But women don't have any of those same. I mean, they can say a guy looks nice and all that, but women don't get anywhere near that same level of like glory for fucking having sex with a dude just because he looks good. Kind of thing. And I mean, when I say looks good, I'm not talking about like something about his personality is mixing well with his attitude. I'm talking about, okay, like, see, this is the hard part that women just cannot figure out to say for the life of them. A man, okay, let's say in the future, which is going to come at some point, where we would be able to make either a clone or just like a female body look exactly how we want it to look, right? A man can fuck like strictly just a woman's body. Like it has nothing to do with her personality. And I mean, don't get me. There's sometimes it can work out that way where a personality can actually add to it, but let's be real. Like, and I try to tell another female friend of mine is she's actually sick right now. So I talked to her. But she's miles away. I tell her, look, a dude can go a dude can go in a pitch black closet and fuck a woman he can't even see, but just feel her body and like the way her body feels, and then that's it. And bust up the biggest nut he ever had in his life, right? That's all men need. We don't need to even see the woman. Right? Right? As long as we can deduce that the woman is physically healthy, as long as we can deduce that she knows how to take a bath and she's physically healthy, that's all we need. We don't need anything else. Perfect example. I watched this show on YouTube. I was watching them before they even took off too. I remember they was barely getting in the tens of thousands of views. Now they're getting like hundreds of thousands of views every video. There's this YouTube channel called Catfish, and I was watching them a while back. Right? I don't even know how I stumbled on them, but like I said, I was with them from they were like nobodies when I first found them, and now they blew up a little bit. And just recently, they had a blind dude. So what this show Catfish is this show that gets people who were catfish through online dating, right? 95% of the time, it's men. They found some, woman in some chat room or chat site, and it's a catfish. It's some dude in Nigeria or Czech Republic, like rob, just getting money out of them and putting it in Bitcoin and shit like that, right? It's always that shit. But one of the latest victims on Catfish was a blind dude. This dude was completely blind and blind from birth. And guess who he got catfished by? He didn't get catfished by Monique. All right, he didn't get catfished by Precious. He got catfished by a beautiful bitch. And he was blind on the computer, on the internet. This motherfucker was so blind, he forgot that we could see him on camera, and he just started busting out crying on camera. That's how blind the motherfucker was. Motherfucker, we can still see you. We can see you crying. We can see you boo-hooing. You still right there, bro. And he don't know because he's that blind, right? He thinks eyesight takes a break. This motherfucker, he was like, and he got up and walked the motherfucker got up and walked like 20 feet, like directly behind the camera so we could still see him. And the funny part was, the woman, I could tell, like, the one, because it's this dude and this woman who always breaks the news to the people, right? And the girl wanted to laugh for real, but she was holding that shit. She wanted to, I can see it. She wanted to laugh at it because that shit was ridiculous. But back to what I'm saying. Man, all men need is all men, from 5 to 155. All we need is just the idea that the woman is physically healthy and can take a bath, and that's it, right? That's literally it. Whereas women, it happens, but it's nowhere near as common as men would think. With just that alone, like I said, like I'm saying, okay, the fact, okay, I'm talking okay, men don't care about women's status. We don't care about how much money they make. We don't care about any of that none of that other stuff matters. But all that matters for a woman, right? Right. So the concept of a woman. But here's the thing. How women perceive the world is just completely different. A woman is always measuring what she thinks somebody else would want and then put her values in that. So it's not even the same at the core. See, as men, we don't walk. I mean, at some point, we do imagine what people would think about us if they see us with a certain type of physical woman and all that. But ultimately, like, we can move above that unless she's just like super fucked up and we were just super horny. Like, we can usually make it work some kind of way. But women have a very hard time trying to more so, like, a woman's primary struggle is keeping up with other women. A woman's entire fight, every woman's entire fight, pretty much once she's figured out she can be cute, is competing with other women, because it has nothing to do with men. It has nothing. These competitions, it is nothing to do with men. Okay, like, for example, like, just another scenario, like, to explain the competition situation, right? when it comes to like superhero movies and all this, and you know, and half naked heroes and all that. See, you never once really you know, it's very rare you would find a guy get caught up on the fact that Thor was walking around with his shirt off in an Avengers movie, right? And it's this problem, and now it's outrage and all that, right? Because we don't care. Right? I mean, it is going to be some level of competition somewhere in that, but we're not like, it's not like competition in the sense of like, my whole life is now wrapped around competing with Chris Hemsworth because the motherfucker looks like that without his shirt off, right? And now I feel like it's hurting my quality of life because Chris Hemsworth is walking around with his shirt off. It doesn't register the same way for me. Whereas women will come together and try to pull this whole fat acceptance and all this goofy shit, you know, to retaliate because they competing with other women. Men don't push fat acceptance like that. I mean, I'm sure some dudes don't give a fuck or whatever. I mean, you know, it's something that's there, but men aren't getting ready to go push a whole Calvin Klein ad because of it. You know what I mean? That shit would be embarrassing. Could you imagine? Imagine if like Seth Rogen and these motherfuckers came and say, "Yeah, you need to fucking be attracted to fat motherfuckers." So here we are, and just pose on the Gap with their bellies out. That make it be more pathetic. You're like, oh. And here's the sad part. Every woman would know it's pathetic if a man did that. Well, here's the thing. Every woman knows it's pathetic when women do it. But women lie to each other to make them feel good for the first 5 minutes. Women need that toxic masculinity to set them straight. See, here's the thing. Where all these modern day problems are coming from lying to women. See, like I said, back when I was a kid, to some people I still am a kid. I'll be 40 soon. Some people I still am a kid. But back when I was a younger kid, Homer Simpson was considered fat. If a woman was ugly, there was not very much hesitation to make it known that she that she was ugly. And it wasn't like it was in the world. It's like, yeah, I ain't dating her. And she wouldn't even be fat. Just didn't look good to you. So when women had more, so when it was clear, when motherfuckers, when you had pretty girls pretty girls don't even fuck with ugly bitches now, but but see, back in the times, the younger generation doesn't know. I feel sorry for guys who are like 20 years old now, because they don't remember these times. If you want to look back at the times, watch Al Bundy. Watch Al Bundy's greatest hits. There's one episode. So I'll go on Al Bundy real quick. There's one episode. So Al Bundy had his neighbor named Marcy. Now, personally, I thought Marcy was cute, but he ain't like Marcy. I thought Marcy looked better than Peggy, for real. I never cared for Peggy. Marcy just had, I was always sucker for like white women with cute faces, and I thought Marcy just had like a cute face. I never, I wasn't really into like boo. Like it depends on the body type. Like Marcy was like my type when I was a kid. I never cared for, I didn't even care for Kelly. I like Marcy the best out of, the ones who would like constantly be on the show. Anyway, Marcy would always come over for some reason to Al Bundy's house, right? And they would always be, they were pretty much like Martin and Pam, like from the Martin show. They would always be roasting each other, right? And just like with Martin and Pam, I thought Pam looked better than Gina, right? Gina was just light skinned, but Pam looked better for real. And there was one episode where when Al Bundy was trying to explain to Marcy Darcy, what the the difference between pretty women and ugly women. He goes, pretty women make us buy beer, Ugly women make us drink beer. Pretty women sell sports cars. Ugly women sell tennis rackets. And like, but that's how it was. Like back in those, you could just say, I mean, and motherfuckers knew what it was. And this sense of inflation, this wholeflation, was not a thing. I mean, it was always there a little bit, and you still had simps and stuff like that, but it was nowhere near like what it was. I think some stuff was probably a little worse. Like if a woman did want to hussy around, I think it would be easier for her to hide it back then, because some stuff just wasn't touched on unless the woman was just clearly a hussy. Like some stuff we just didn't even talk about it like that, unless like rumors started to float around because we didn't have smartphones or anything. But those are back in the years you can do that. What's up, Grave Rave? Yeah, I'm better. I'm still off, but I'm much far better than I was. Thomas Sowell be like, the CIA screwing the black community 20 times is just part of the free market. Yeah. Yeah. Thomas Sowell, that dude's fucking hilarious. That dude will quote white history for helping out blacks in a second. But in that same interview, when the white dude, the funny part was there, I covered one where it was a white, he was sitting at a table with a white dude, and the white dude was like, but surely, like, this, they went on, I forget what it was, but he's like, no, this couldn't have been the blacks' fault. This has to do with history. And all of a sudden, Thomas Howell was like, oh, what's history got to do with it? It ain't got nothing to do with it. That motherfucker is literally Uncle Tom. In the latter sense, not the origin of Uncle Tom, but what Uncle Tom legend turned into. That dude's hilarious. That dude, he is just he is a perfect I mean, he's a piece of shit because he genuinely fucking says this shit, right? Like he genuinely walks around and says some shit. He's a piece of shit, but it's funny. Like it's funny to watch. Like that dude is literally a walking Dave Chappelle skit. Like how he just is. Like just start talking. I mean, like I said, and for some reason, okay, like I said before, that dude's degrees is in economics and like some silly shit after that. Right? It's not like this motherfucker does not have a degree in sociology or anthropology or human history. But like I said, and I'm not gonna go on for too long. But like I said back then, that dude gets his rent paid by telling guilty white people what they want to hear. The guilty white people who can't understand the reality, he tells them the perfect dream so they can sleep better, right? Because they have some sense of misplaced guilt from everything, right? That's his role in it. Because this dude has no qualification to talk about any of that shit. About, you know what I mean? If I'm not mistaken, his background, he was just some knucklehead who was getting ready to go to jail and go to prison. And back in them years, they said, okay, look, either you can go to prison or you go to the military. And he went to the military. And then after that, he actually got around motherfuckers who did something with their life and graduated from college. That was it. This motherfucker was, it's 50 of them motherfuckers on my dead uncle's street alone back in Dayton, Ohio. He's nothing special. But again, he's a dude who just tells a certain population what they want to hear to get his rent paid. I think he's funny. When he talks about actual, world situations on a surface level, he's pretty. I mean, I've never known him to be wrong, but as soon as he goes into racial issues, it just all crumbles. Pretty quick. Pretty quick. Is that orange passion fruit you're drinking? No. What I'm drinking, actually, I just ran out of my glass. What this is it got a little straw in it too. I've had this cup for a long time. What I'm drinking, so to answer your question, though, this is not orange passion fruit. This is a mixture drink that my spouse makes, and then I added more to it. What this is lemons, ginger, black pepper, and cayenne, that pepper, that grounded red pepper, simmered for like an hour. So it's spicy. It's hot. because I love strong tasting drinks. So you know how people usually don't like strong alcohol with the kick and all that. Like I like it. I like that feeling, right? But I'm just getting tired of drinking alcohol because I went out a few days ago. There was a game on. A friend of mine from Cape Town. He's from South Africa. I just found out he was Indian. I didn't know he was Indian. He randomly messed. He said, "Hey, you want to go to the beer? You want to go to the you want to go with me to a pub and watch a football game? It's a big game with some team in Munster, and they say it was in the Premier League. I don't know football like that. But I said, yeah, I'll go with you, man. He's like, okay, man, yeah, I'll be there in like I'm out there in like 5 minutes because I got to drop my son off to a birthday party in your building, so I'll be out there in like 5 minutes. Can you be ready? I was like, yeah, I'll be ready. I just got to put some clothes on. So I put some clothes on, and we went, and and yeah, and here's the way. Maybe I'm getting old, man. Maybe I'm getting old. I'm aging. I got the cheese fries, right? And a Guinness. I'm not really so mad about the Guinness. And the cheese fries were actually delicious. And he paid for everything. So I was gonna pay, but he just walked around. He walked away and paid for everything. I got the cheese. Now, to be fair, the cheese fries were absolutely delicious. They were amazing. But I felt bad because it was like junk food. You know what I mean? Like I could tell there was no nutrition or anything. I felt like I just wasted a bunch of money eating the fries. It was like $6, something like that, which is expensive for Prague, by the way, because it was a Westerner pub we went to. It was definitely it was just all Westerners in there, usually from the UK. And I was so mad at myself that I said, I'm just gonna make my own. I don't even want to drink alcohol. I don't want to eat junk food. I just make my own shit. So my spouse, she always makes ginger and lemon, I can never make it how she does because she always makes it and it comes out spicy. I can never make it like that. So I tried it and failed again at it. It didn't come out spicy at all. But I asked ChatGPT. I said, ChatGPT, how do I make something more spicy? He said, yeah, just add black pepper to it. Like, black pepper? So it's gonna taste like black pepper. So I said, fuck. I'm gonna try it a little bit, and it worked. So I added more pepper to it, and then put the red pepper. So this is actually not well. It's probably red, but I don't know. This is just pretty much just fancy lemonade with pepper in it, pretty much, but it's spicy. I'm gonna get some more. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some more real fast. All right. More black pepper. Ugh. Crazy bro, since when are you back? Haven't seen you in a long time. You smart man, an old man with time. Eating disorder. What the fuck is that? Oh, I'm all a little confused now. This cancel culture is the worst. You can't see anything without someone. Oh yeah, yeah. Like I do miss. I think we need toxic masculinity. I love it. I think toxic masculinity is great. I think that shit's amazing. I think we need Trump. I would never vote for Trump. And see, and I've been on a bunch of rants all day today about Trump. Because everybody asks me, for some reason, everybody here comes to me and asks, what's with Trump? What did you do to Trump? And my honest opinion, what I tell everybody I know here, is I think a lot of it is people just want to hate Trump. I don't want to say all people, but I think a lot of people just don't like Trump just because they just don't want to like him. One. Again, I would never vote for him. And I've always said this from the first time he ran for president. I would never vote for Trump because of how he talks. Because he'll start insurgencies just off of how he talks. He has a high potential of starting it. That's why I would never vote for him. But I think it's what we need. Because I woke up this morning. I was telling my spouse. I told her about on YouTube, they were showing I still don't really know what Dogecoin or whatever that is. I don't know what that is, but something with him and Elon Musk, and they started firing VA employees. Right? They started firing the VA federal employees for the military. Right? For the guys who get out the military. And I think he should have done it. I agree with him. I agree with him. I'm glad. Look, I'm sorry for those people who lost their job. All right, I don't wish anybody lose their job, especially after all this COVID and all that. I don't want anybody to lose. So I don't mean I'm happy that people lost their jobs, but what I'm happy about is that what Trump did with that was like, I don't even know if Trump really did it, okay? Because I'm just kind of getting the tidbits in from the news. But what I can gather is I agree with doing that. The reason why I agree with doing that is because the VA needs that shakeup. Because the VA has been getting away with too much for too long. Once you get a job in there, you can't get fired. If you're a veteran and got a job, now you really can't get fired, so you get away with some of everything. Well, dude, when I was working at the VA, you know how many times, like, I'm pulling a Donald Trump. Like, I got away with shit to say. You know why I know these things? Because I got away with the same shit they got away with. Right? I'm pulling a Donald Trump on the VA motherfucker. This is why I agree with him. Because they was getting away with too much for too long. How many times I worked in the head office with the person who's over all the VA counselors in the state of Ohio. I was like literally a door down from her. I still remember her first and last name. I still remember exactly what she looks like. You know how many times she would just go shopping all day? Like literally all day. They said, well, no, just go home. We'll just write your time sheet. Just go home. We going to the mall. Literally like that. Yo. So, I mean, that worked out for me, but what about the 30 veterans who needed your help because they ran out of rent money and, there's 30 other veterans who probably tried calling you that day. She wasn't going to pick up the phone anyway, but because here's it. Okay, if you're a veteran, if you call the veterans, if you trying to call one of these offices like that, look, them motherfuckers ain't picking up the phone. When I was having issues, they told me to call. I already knew what it was. They're not going to pick up the phone. They sitting there looking at the phone with it on silent. Remember that episode in that when Iron Man was, he said, yeah, call me. I like to watch the light blink. That's what they do. And I think Trump what Trump did, he went in there and just shook them up a little bit. Yeah, he said, yeah, y'all motherfuckers aren't invincible. You not as invincible as you thought you was. He should have done that. And I'm glad he did it. Because they was getting away with too much. I don't care if it takes me down in the process of what I do. Because them motherfuckers are getting away with too much. Should have done that. But the funny part is this. Right? See, you got to watch mainstream media. I was telling my spouse this morning. See, remember about a month ago when they sent them ICE agents in the motherfuckers' houses? And motherfuckers couldn't get enough. They was watching them illegals get separated from their families and thrown on the first jet, jumbo jet, back to Colombia. Motherfuckers was, why you shouldn't have been legal. Right? It was damn near a joke. It was damn near a joke. Right? It was damn near a joke. But now, you attack that white collar, now it's a tragedy. Right? Because the white collars, I already know the white collars argument. The white collars argument is going to be, well, we weren't doing anything illegal, blah, 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 and they found a loophole to fight. Yeah, you weren't doing anything illegal on paper, but come on, like, you work in there, bro. I worked in there. I know what you're doing. You're treating people like shit. You're dogging them out. You're ignoring them. You're leaving their messages on red. You're not picking up the phone while they trying to pay their rent. Yeah, you ain't doing. See, this is how the white collar always gets away with being able to pull a victim card because they know how to phrase things better in the context. But they're equally, if not more, pieces of shit than the blue collar. You want to know why? Because the white collar has more access to money to fuck up more things than the blue collar will ever have on a whole. This is what the white collar is, a far bigger piece of shit because they have access to more resources to fuck more people over and then get bored with them resources. Yeah, I'm glad he did it. I'm happy he did it. I think it was fun. I thought it was funny. They put this, and then they put this dude in an interview on CNN because he was mad. I'm like, yeah, I did 10 years in the Marine Corps, and it was the best job I ever had. I come out here. I said, look, see, that dude literally looked you. See, the game he pulled, because I know that game. I know how these motherfuckers talk in there. The game he pulled. See, most motherfuckers do not know the game he just, the lies and bullshit he looked dead in the camera and told y'all motherfuckers on live TV. But you want to know why? Because like a woman, he knows he can just go, oh, well, I was in the military, so you got to respect me. Or like a woman, oh, well, I'm a woman, so you got to respect me. Oh, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Because he knows he's gonna get that response. See, to this day, I remember motherfuckers like him. See, these are the parts you don't get. These are the stories you don't hear about. I remember the friend of mine who came out from Germany with his friend in the Air Force, and he was fucked up. See, these are the stories that CNN won't put on TV. These are stories you ain't gonna see. Motherfuckers don't go working at the VAs and dealing with these motherfuckers and hearing their life stories and you know and see these. Okay, when motherfuckers be doing like 8 years and 10 years, see a whole lot of times when they get out the military, they trying to run back in. I told my wife, I still remember this big black dude. He was one of them big Shannon Sharp type motherfuckers. He was sitting back at the recruiter's office trying to play military because I guess he thought it would get him back in the military faster because he went out in the real world and couldn't even hold a job. And this was long before. This was like 15 years ago. I still remember him. Because a whole lot of them get out of that military and literally can't function in the world without somebody telling them what to do. Right, a whole lot of them do. They get out here in this real world, and now they ain't got, they don't know how. A whole lot of them end up like that. More than you would think, right? And then you get it dude. I got so many stories floating in my head of just because I would always get the crazy people. So when I worked at the VA, in the department I worked at, I say more than half the people never even touched the military, so they didn't know how to really deal with hearing crazy people and all that, like angry people and shit. So they would always give me the crazy people to go out there and talk to. And I always went out there and I mean, we just talk to them like you got some sense. You ain't gonna have a problem with them, right? But again, see, these are the worlds that the mainstream world doesn't know in America. So they just hear military and VA and they think that the troops will be taken care of. It's usually one or two responses that you get from mainstream people in the world when they think about the VA or the military. It's either one, the VA military are perfect group that take care of everything, and those guys don't have to worry about anything, or it's the other extreme of, yeah, they always fuck over troops, and they fuck over veterans, and they're homeless, and they leave them with no benefits. It's always one of the two extremes, because the mainstream people don't know, all the inner workings of it. Right? Some stuff be the veterans' fault, and some stuff is the VA's fault. It depends on the case. It's a case by case basis. I've seen it be extremes in both directions. Right? I've seen guys go in there and just pocket all the education money and never told the VA that they stopped going to school. They just kept all the money and never told them. So then what happened was, when they did that, and then they'll eventually get caught at some point. The VA will garnish their disability payments to pay off all that money. So there's a lot of veterans out there who are even 100% disabled, who are getting that with $3,000 a month every month, right? But they did something like that where they was double dipping and taking too much money out, and the VA just garnished all that shit to repay back all the money. And that's why you see a lot of veterans working at Uber. They work at some low end job, whatever, right? And see, they'll never tell you. See, the thing is, they'll never tell you that. They will never come to you and tell you that. They'll never go on CNN and say, yeah, I was double dipping in my benefits and my disability, and I never went. But then on top of that, I never told the VA that I wasn't actually using my benefits as I should have. I just kept the money. They'll never say that on CNN, dude. See, it's up to people like me and people who worked in there to know how to read between that bullshit to decipher what they're actually saying. All right, I'll share some personally. Mine's got garnished for like $20 a month, and that was because my VA counselor messed up and overpaid me. Mine got garnished. It was like for like 4 months, and they took out like. And she hit me with an email, said, hey, Mr. Radford, sorry, but I actually overpaid you for like 2 months. So we actually have to garnish your disability payments. And they took it was like $50 a month or like $80 a month for like 4 months or something like that to pay it back. And they will get that money. Okay. I don't know which is worse, the IRS or the military, because the military will get that money. I don't know which one's worse. I don't know which one I'd rather be in it. I don't know which one I would rather fuck up with, the military or the IRS. I really don't know. I think the IRS is probably a little worse if they catch it, but the military will catch it. The IRS may fuck around and not catch it. The military is going to catch it. That's one thing they are good at. I say you have about a 98% chance of getting caught in the military. IRS, you got probably about a 60% chance with the IRS. Whew. Oh, hey, what's up, Papa Midnight? Ain't no topic, man. I'm just babbling because I'm still fucking off because I was sick as fuck. I got laid off my last day is the 28th. I did the equivalent of 5 months of severance pay, which is good. Yo, yeah, with that VA shit, I seen that first with the VA, they was offering them like some like severance pay and all that, but they thought that it was illegal for them to do that, so nobody took it. And then come to find out, they just dismissed them. But okay, back to that topic, like I think that was good for the VA. Not for the people who lost their jobs, of course, but I think it was good for that VA culture because they need that shakeup. They need to be shaken up. They need that. They need to lose that sense of I could just run in there and be completely safe. Because all it does is make them lazy and stupid. Like Europe when it comes to this subsidized healthcare and all that goofy shit. And the next thing you know, you paying double the prices for healthcare, which is most Europeans are. They just don't know they're doing it. Okay. Once you make some shit, some protected, see, these are the issues of why the world does not understand America. Is because America will learn these mistakes that other countries make with these things, right? America will learn the mistakes that Europe makes with these contract jobs and making life a little too easy, right? because now once you have contract jobs and people know that they got some ability to take, that's why customer service at a base level is abysmal compared to North America, because they know they don't have to be nice, they don't have to think harder, think faster, because they know they got a job. Whereas in North America, well, we don't work the same way. And see, it's these little things of why the world can't understand Americans like that. Because we have a little bit of that third world in us, and we got a little bit of the first world in us. And it all comes out at different times. Whereas the rest of the world is just competing on strictly being first world or third world. America is blending the two in at the same time. Trump really needs to shake up Congress. There are a lot of clips of them sleeping on the clock in the middle of a decision for something important. I've never heard that, but that sounds about right. I'm glad he did it. I'm glad he went there and shook up the VA. I think, like I said, I think America is what Trump needs, for real. I mean, Trump is what America needs. Trump is what America needs, for real. That sense of being unapologetic, saying some shit, being unapologetic, not trying to vocalize, keeping the peace, and keeping these all phony ass facades going on to please everybody. Just say some shit. Be a fucking man. Be a father. Be a man and say some shit, and knowing that they're gonna be mad about it. Say it and let them know, and know they're gonna be mad about it. Right? Instead of trying to be this whole like, oh, I'm not trying to make you upset. No, you just said it. Now they can go off, be mad about it, and go off on him and all that when it's all done. But we know where he stands. You know what I mean? That's it. We know where he stands now. At this point, he's proven he's a man of what he says and stands by, and that's it. Right? See, you notice when a man does that, you don't have people coming back and then trying to persuade him into thinking something different. Right? You don't see these feminists and all these people who's mad at him. They not coming around and being like, but Mr. Trump, what about me? But you said this, so how about we try this? No, he ain't doing none of that. It's over. I said what I said. It's done. Boom. Now you can love me, you can hate me, do whatever you want to do. But I said what I said, and that's it. Now the reason why Trump can make so many moves so fast is because he completely walked over that whole bullshit feminine negotiating with people who don't even know what the fuck they talking about at all. Just live with it. I said it, live with it, it's over. Right? And if I fuck up, I fuck up. Cool. Whatever. Right? And that's my opinion on it. For whatever it's worth. How do you feel about Elon being Trump's right-hand man? I see Elon with Trump more than I see Vice President AT. So here's the thing. When I was hanging out with my friend from South Africa, he was going on about Elon. Like, and not in a good way. I don't know anything about Elon Musk. I will say this. I will say, I'm sure just because of his status alone, he's definitely seen a lot more inner workings than, most any regular average Joe will ever see or know about. So I don't think any of those guys are particularly dumb in these regards. Now, somebody can say some dumb shit from time to time. I'm not saying people aren't going to say stupid shit from time to time. But with his life, regardless of how he got to having life experience in his life, I don't think he's a dumb person. But yeah, so my friend was out there. He was going on about Elon and how South Africa is like severely separated and fucked up, and it could be violent, very violent in places. And He said, yeah, and Trump just has Elon just in his ear, but Trump doesn't. He was saying that Trump has no idea like where Elon comes from and that South Africa shit. Like that's he said like that's like a whole different ball game down there. Like he said, and Trump just doesn't have. He was saying Trump just doesn't have the ability to even begin to understand the reality, you know, mostly because it's still that white shit that he was saying down there. Now, I don't know how true this is, but I'm just reciting what he said because he grew up down there. He was saying that down there, 4% of the Caucasian race owns like most of the money down there or something. I forget the math he told me, but it's like the whites still own the vast majority of the wealth in South Africa. He was going on and on about him, and he said, but in the same instance, he's like he's with me on with Trump, with in the situation of immigrants and all that shit. Like, I mean, Trump's not wrong about any of that. He's just not comfortable, but he's not wrong. But um, but how do I feel about it? I don't know enough to feel anything about it, to be honest with you. I don't know enough to I don't know enough to say anything about it. Like I said, now I think my friend would have more insight on that because he's actually from Cape Town, so he would be the better person to ask. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm knowing that Trump has fired hundreds of thousands of federal workers. The housing market in D.C. is cooked. The housing market, D.C. has been in a weird position since I can remember because a good friend of mine, his little brother went out there to live for a while, and he was telling me stories about D.C. Like I just could never imagine D.C. was even anywhere near what it was. I didn't even know Washington. I didn't know Washington D.C. was like a real city. And when I think of Washington D.C., I think of like those monuments and whatever the fuck that statues and shit like that. I don't even think of it as like a city. And then, like I said, a friend of mine, his little brother, after college, he went out there to work and move and live and shit for a little while. And I got all the stories through him. So I don't know anything about. I've never been to D.C. I don't really have a reason to ever really go, to be honest. Uh, But Jab, what's up, Jabby? Have you heard about Kanye controversy? He was selling shirts with the swastika symbol. Let's look it up. I don't know what he did. Kanye West swastika. Is that how you spell it? 8 days ago. He's selling T-shirts bearing a swastika. It's like, yeah, okay, right now, this immediately sounds like a way to just get his name out in the world, honestly. Here's the thing. I'm still shocked that Kanye ever became famous. Like, I'm still shocked that the dude ever because Jay-Z said the same thing I thought. He's not a good rapper. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him that he succeeded, but I'm still shocked that he became anywhere near as popular. I still remember when College Dropout came out and was a graduation, and because I was going to Central State at the time, and that was when Gold Digger and all that was. I was like, yeah, this is hot. Like, but it was in the realm of like, okay. Kanye at that time was like in the realm of Nicki Minaj before she ever came out with an official CD. I thought like, yeah, this is hot, but and I would even say Katy Perry when Katy Perry made that "I Kissed a Girl" song. When I heard that for the first time, I was like, yeah, this is hot, but I don't think other people are gonna like this. And next thing I knew, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing these motherfuckers' names, on TV, the radio, everything. But out of all those, I think I really did not think Kanye West was going to because I didn't think Kanye West was a good rapper. I thought he just had a good thing on his own as like I remember when The Weeknd, this was back before The Weeknd was even, The Weeknd was just like some underground dude that you barely even knew unless you were really into, underground music. I remember The Weeknd back in those years. The Weeknd was like, The Weeknd was really one of those dudes like you just like you barely you see I remember you just barely knew who he was kind of thing. But you could tell his music was good, but you never really thought he'd blow up either. And The Weeknd just went to catastrophic levels like Kanye West for a while. Um, but yeah, that the one that had was Hey Mama on it. I can't think of that name, the name of that CD. But that was another one of them like songs about James with Maroon Fives. Like every song at that time, every song on that CD could have been a hit on the radio. But at the same time, I would not think that they would have blown up. Now Maroon Five didn't blow up until the Adam Levine dude, got on that TV show. Because I was a big fan of Songs About Jane by Maroon Five. I really like Songs About. I thought that was an incredible album at the time. It was not there wasn't a lot out like it, and because I remember because after that album, I waited for their next album that had Makes Me Wonder on it, and I can't remember the name of that one. But it didn't do like I didn't like that. I didn't like. I remember I bought it. And I didn't really like much of it on it. It just seemed to like they tried to jazz it up too much. They went from like this like kind of like I don't even know how to even classify. Songs About Jane was just really something in its own type. The next album was just overproduced. It had too much going on. It drifted away from what the first a little too far, and I don't think it did anywhere near as well as Songs About Jane, or maybe it did. I don't know, but I didn't care for it. I didn't care for it. I didn't really care for any of it. I tried listening to their other albums after that, and I didn't really. The Songs About Jane, Songs About Jane was by far like at that time for how music was at the time was by far the best. Late Registration, yeah. Kanye went to the Grammys with his wife naked. He'll do anything for attention. Yeah. Coming out with something was okay. With me living in Europe, literally an hour away from Germany, like here's I'm so tired of Nazi shit that is just to say anything about if you put Nazi in anything, it just comes off as a clear ploy for attention, unless you're trying to genuinely learn something. It just comes off as a clear ploy for attention. Neo-Nazi, if anybody says the word Nazi and it's not like in a documentary or something like that, and even then it's close. It's just like the Nazi shit has just run horrifically, raggedly dry for attention at this point. It's like just a complete desperate attempt at getting attention. It's been beat. The whole Nazi infatuation has been beaten into the ground. It's just been beaten into the ground. And then to come out and try to sell a shirt with a SWAT. Let's look at this shirt. And this is why he did it, so people can go look at it. For $20. Word, you just gonna see. Oh, you can't see what I'm looking at. Hang on. It's just a blown up picture. This is a T-shirt with a black. I think that sounds like that's a publicity stunt. That's all it is, man. That's a publicity stunt. Welcome to the 40s. It's like a nightmare. Yeah, that's definitely publicity stunt shit for sure. Oh, but what I did want to do is I wanted to explain. Let me go to the iPad. I wanted to explain because I was thinking about doing this. Oh, where I'm at. here. So what I wanted to do was talk about like the sad realities for men and women in day another way, right? So let me make sure my iPad is working. Yeah. Okay. So what I wanted to do was this. I wanted to do. Let me see how am I gonna write this. Let's do 20. Oh. Well, no. Let's see what. Let's do like from birth. From birth. Boy. Girl. Right. Okay. So, like boys and girls both have like high points and low points for different reasons, right? So, starting from birth, I say it's pretty much about the same, right? From birth, there's not much difference. I mean, there are differences, it's still that, she's a girl, so you can't, hit her and all that shit like that. They're little. But okay, well, let's start from there. Let's start from birth. Let's do from 0 to 5 years of age, right? From 0 to 5 years of age, boys are essentially taught, unless they're going to be spoiled. It can change depending on this. Is what I'm going to go over, just a general situation. So girls are generally brought up under the pampering of the world of weaker, right? Which inevitably means I get free shit, right? Simply because they're a girl, right? She'll be picked up more often. She's gonna be given shit. She'll have more options to pick for what she can wear. You can't be mean to her, right? This starts from the ages 0 to 5. Where 0 to 5, boys are starting out life. They're more. They're a bit more wild. I'll definitely give you that. A bit more wild, but more strict. And okay, this will inevitably lead to being more firm. You have to be more firm with boys, right? Because boys they're wilder to have more energy. Like they're just more wild to have energy, right? So for example, I remember when I really noticed it was when I was with my son at this little like play park thing. It was indoors, and there was this screen where you can throw balls at the screen to make like it would interact with the screen, like pop balloons and shit, right? And at first it was just all girls in there. And my son didn't even come in there yet. And the girls were just, they're much slower. I'm talking, this is like the ages of like, 1 to maybe 3, right? The girls were just noticeably far slower, softer with everything. And I remember my son didn't even come in first. This other little boy came in first. And this motherfucker was just wild. Like, I can immediately, like, notice the boy's energy. Just how he would just pick the ball up was just a whole different animal, right, than the girls. The girls, they sitting around waiting to be handed the ball. You know what I mean? Were you mean to me when you gave me the ball, kind of thing like that? And the boy don't give a fuck about none of that. He's trying to go grab a ball and throw it at the wall, right? He didn't care. But what that inevitably, again, it leads to boys having to be treated more firm to calm them down when it's time to sit the fuck down, right? So boys come into the world on a harder level, like immediately from the start. Because again, the girls are usually more docile, they're slower, all that. Right? Ugh. Then you got from the ages of what? I'd say 5 to, let's say 12, right? 5 to 12. Now they're starting to learn social skill, how to hang out socially with other people, how to get along with other people, right? But dude, I remember back to when I was young like that. It was who was the pretty girl, and that's what I want to kiss and all that shit like that. I was looking for pretty girls in kindergarten, right? And the girls don't care. So could you imagine? Now this is the hard part that guys have to come to terms with, right? Could you imagine being born into a position where you are desired by default? I mean, guys can't do that, and women don't know any other path because it's all they know. Now, since girls are desired by default, this leads to the next problem. The next problem is who am I desired by? This is where the woman's issues come in. It's not, see, women that have no issues with this. This is not an issue. Being desired is not an issue. They're born into the world with that. Somebody's going to desire them because they were just and they figure this out roughly in the ages of five, between five from 5 to 12 years old. They know it. They know somebody's going to be looking at them, coming over to them, talking to them, whatever. Now their biggest problem is who am I desired by? See, and it's so deep. Here's the thing: it's so deep in the woman mind that she literally can't even comprehend any other way of thinking, because it's all she knows, right? And on the flip side, guys don't know what it's like to be desired at all. Boys don't know what to do with it. It's something we don't know anything about, for the most part. For the most part, it may be just here or there, but it's not a normal thing for guys to be desired, and it's anywhere in these age groups where they start to realize it. Anywhere from I say as young, well, maybe not five. I say from 7 to 12 is when it starts to kick in. It's like, okay, I know who I like, but do they like me? Right? Will anybody like me? Will I ever be invited to a party? Will anybody come to my party? Right? Now, oh yeah. Now, women are born into life on a far easier path. Let me check this real fast. Check something real fast. Oof. What does it do? Okay, yeah, it's going. Yeah. So remember, they're born into this dealing with the card on the playing field of somebody is always gonna look at me, talk to me, want to come over to me just because I'm here, right? This is where they're starting at, right? So by the time you hit 18 to 25, right? This is all she knows. All she knows is being desired. That's all she ever knows. But and then on top of that, now she's at the official ages where, like I said, any guy from 5 to 155 is gonna want woman in these age groups. Any guy in those Any guy in these age groups is gonna want the girl, right? So could you imagine as it like try to imagine as a guy that literally everywhere you can walk to, anytime you can walk out the house, if you take a picture of yourself and put it on the internet, there is going to be somebody who's going to come by and speak to you. It's hard for guys to imagine this because, guys, we don't have that same upbringing. We don't have the same benefits in life early on. We don't, it's nowhere near the same. But if you can, try to imagine you can literally, you just walk down the street to put garbage in a garbage can and somebody will look at you. Right? So it's good, but it's also bad, right? Because the good is, well, if it's a guy you might, if it's a guy she likes, she can try, but she may not even be in the mood to talk to a guy, right? Because she is now getting 100% attention from the world, right? She is now getting 100% attention because she's in her prime years. So could you imagine? There's a lot of benefits, but there's also a lot of awkwardness, harsh. Because some days maybe she doesn't want to be attractive. Maybe some days she just wants to be out there and just chilling, right? But she can't because now she is this ripe fruit. And of course, it's going to get annoying, this and that, and whatever, right? And see, this is the sad part. And I say this all the time. This is the sad part about being a woman. The sad part about being a woman is not being able to turn it off, which inevitably will lead to frustration, becoming bitter about it. She's already heard every line in the book by the time she's 20. She knows she could do whatever she wants, and somebody's always going to come and desire her still just because of how she was born. Where boys get none of that at all. None of that. Boys are still just chasing all the time. Right? But then imagine you hit 30 or 45. Right? Now, since boys have grown up their entire life with this mentality, with this culture in them, a lot of guys never ever learn how to grow out of it. Never. Most guys will never learn how to grow out of it. So what that does is create trauma from all those years, from literally all the years back before this, all that trauma of going out trying to get rejected, getting told you're not good enough, you're not tall enough, you're not, you're too skinny, you're too small, whatever. All those years of all that trauma, a lot of guys will just clam up and be like, I'm too scared to even say hi to a woman. Right? But at this point, the girls, oh, they've already known that they could have options whenever they want to. It's just who they want. So at this point, the woman has now become so picky to where she truly thinks she's suffering just because she's not getting what she wants. See, and here the big difference is this. Okay. It would be like Kanye West saying he's starving versus, a kid in the middle of like some poor village in India saying he's starving, or the Philippines, some shit like that. See, Kanye West would be starving because he just can't find what food he wants to eat. So he's starving because he just wants a certain kind of food. He's hungry, but it's self-inflicted because he can just go eat a bowl of rice. You know what I mean? Or a bowl of spaghetti or some shit like that. But he just doesn't want the spaghetti. So now he's like, oh my, I get money. Right? Whereas that poor kid, in the middle of, Manila somewhere, um, that kid just may not have the option to go get some food, right? Guys are always that poor kid in Manila. Women are always Kanye West talking about he's going to do a hard time. Like, yeah, relative to Kanye West's lifestyle and culture, he's going through a hard time, but that's not a hard time. Right? But then what's worse is this for women, right? Imagine if you looked out and you seen consistently that, let's say you had $100 million, every month you were just losing $500,000 and there was nothing you could do about it at all. It was just nothing you could do. But there was a guarantee you would always have $80,000 somewhere, right? I think that would be the best way to put it, when using the relation of money to it, is imagine that is the lifestyle of the vast majority of women, how they age. Imagine every year you start off with $100 million. Well, let's say you start with $10 million, right? And every month to year, no matter what you do, you are going to lose at least $500,000, and there's nothing you can do about it. But there's a guarantee you will always have $80,000 at all times. So with that math being explained, you will lose that $10 million, but you always gonna have 80,000 sitting somewhere. So to somebody in that culture, in that mentality, $80,000 is misery. That's complete misery, right? Whereas on the flip side, let's say like a guy, right? Guys are born in life with literally nothing, unless you were born into wealth or something like that. You're born with nothing. So from the guy's perspective, you always essentially have to get lucky and find a job to amount to something and work with everything on your own. But the good part is, with a guy, there is no biological timer just deducting money away from you regardless. We don't have anywhere near that same destruction within us. And that's a sad reality, man. Like that is a sad reality. So in the end, the woman was so used to all these. She's used to being glorified, desired, whatever. And then once it becomes clear she's not at the same level, to her, it's the end of life. Aging is a threat to women. Aging in itself by itself is just a threat to them. Period. It's a threat. It's rough. Because me and my spouse was talking about it. I was telling her like, yo, like as a woman, like you can have 5 dudes come over tonight for you, just because you're a woman. That's it. Like you got that benefit in life. But the benefit that women don't get in life is no woman can make a man go down on one knee for her. No woman can make a man marry her. Not a one. There's another friend. He just wrote me asking he wants to go get a beer. Hope everything is going well in March. We should go get a beer soon. Oof. But yeah, that's enough of that. Yeah. Let's look what's on YouTube. Najlepší akční film. Warrior's Way. Never heard of that. It's pretty good. But yeah, that's life, man. He's like, I didn't see this comment. Jam says, if they offer severance pay to leave, take it. There's no need to risk getting laid off with no pay. Yeah, JM, yeah. That was what happened with Let's look it up real fast. That's what happened with Oh, it made the actual VA website. Let's go to the actual VA website. Can you guys see this? Yeah. So it says. So it says. VA dismisses more than 1,000 employees. The Department of Veteran Affairs today announces the dismissal of more than 1,000 employees. Those dismissed today include the non-bargaining unit probationary employees who have served less than a year in competitive service appointment or who have served less than 2 years in an accepted service appointment. The personnel moves will save the department more than $98 million per year, and VA will redirect all those resources back to the healthcare benefits and services for VA beneficiaries. Yeah, and I think they should. Okay, so this is what I told my spouse this morning when we was talking about this, right? See, and I seen a lot of this shit coming before. I seen this coming over the last decade, and I told my spouse this earlier today. I said, see, America. This all started back when America became too welcoming for mental illness diagnosis. Because when I went in, I say I went in like I did something, but when I went in, those were still years where it was embarrassing to say you were depressed in public. You didn't want people to know that you were depressed or anything like that. Right? It wasn't the norm yet back in those years. Now it's a badge of honor to say you have ADD and all this shit. Now back then it wasn't a badge of honor yet. So, but it had started not long after, right? This whole where it became fashionable to say to get more diagnosis on your resume. It became cute to put it on Instagram and say, yeah, I've been diagnosed with ADHD, schizophrenia, anxiety, depression. It became fashionable for people to do it. To self-diagnose themselves, to do anything to say they got it. Well, all that did was close off the ability to actually go to the military. Right? So let's say out of 10 people back in those years, I say out of 100 people, you would hear maybe like 6 of them who had a mental. If you were ever diagnosed with any mental condition, like you would never be allowed in the military. Right? That's how it used to be. I'm pretty sure it's still like that now. They probably relax on a few of it, but it's still because you got to hold a gun at some point. They don't want you, going crazy and shooting up people because you got depressed. But anyway, back then it was like out of every 100 people, I would say maybe 6 people were brave enough to say it out loud that they were depressed. Nowadays, it's like probably like 30-40%. People like to brag about what medications they taken, and it flipped. It flipped. So with that being said, at some point, enrollment for the military would have had to have been impacted. It would have had to have been affected by it, by mental illness diagnosis alone. Right? Let's look. Okay, let's do this. Let's look up. Let's just look up the facts. Now this is okay. I wonder if this is going to go because there's ways that they could fudge these numbers too. Because they could say because there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of people who leave and they come back. Listen, they're steadily dropped over the past 40 years. Yeah. Let's see if there's just a chart. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. Okay, this says newly enlisted, and it says it went up, but it's reached a 40-year low in 2020. And it's going to keep going. It's never going to get to that point. See, This is never going to. Okay, so yeah, I would say my point still holds up to some degree. There is no okay. Hiring more people to work at the VA is not an intelligent move because there's not an influx in veterans coming out. Now, let's say like based off this graph, you were talking about from the years of like 1980 to like 1985, that would make sense to keep hiring a bunch of veterans. Because now, or I'm sorry, well, no. Okay, so 20 years from there. So let's say from 1980 to 1985, and let's say like roughly 20 years when all those veterans come out, that would make sense to start hiring more people for the VA. But you talking about people up in this let me zoom in up in this newer area up here. Oh, shit, I'm trying to move it. And you still keep hiring more and more and more and more and more people to work at the VA. You don't need that many people to work at the VA, bro. Just point blank. Okay, and if they are hiring people, they're hiring them all in the wrong departments. Okay, I can tell you that's got to be a fact, just from my experience, because they're not hiring them in departments that will actually do some good. It's the most silly bullshit. Okay, my caseworker now is flooded. In the Chapter 31 program, they've always been flooded. In any program I've ever seen, they never had enough people working for them. They was hiring people for silly ass positions from the start, just making jobs for them, and they should have fired them. Like I said, I agree with Trump. Yeah, and it would save more than 98 million per year. That sounds about right. It sounds about right. But I mean, like I'm not an accountant for the VA, but it don't sound too. It doesn't sound wrong. All right. Again, I'm not an accountant for the VA. I don't do their books or nothing like that. But from my experiences, that sounds about right. They need to go ahead and stop that shit. There are currently more than 43,000 probationary employees across the department, the vast majority of which who are exempt from today's personnel actions because they serve in mission critical positions, primarily those supporting benefits and services for VA beneficiaries or are covered under the Collective Bargaining Act. VA employees who elected to participate in the Office of Personnel Management's deferred resignation program are also exempt from today's personnel actions. Yeah. Yeah, so these are in actual real jobs. From what I deduce from that. That paragraph perfectly summed up. If they're actually in legit position, not some old project manager position, some silly shit. They need to fire them. I think it was needed. The dismissals are effective immediately and have been communicated directly to each employee as an additional safeguard to ensure VA benefits and services are not impacted. The first senior executive service or SES equivalent leader in a dismissed employee's chain of command can request that the employee be exempt from removal. So here's the other part that most people don't know too. I remember when I was with my other VA counselor that screwed me over in the end. They were going through a whole phase of so you see people forget that America just went through that whole raising the credit ceiling situation about 2 or 3 years ago. People forget about that. Even Americans seem to have completely forgot about that when America they just did that shit a few years ago. It wasn't long ago. And it was a big. I remember that was a big deal, and it was even being showed over because anything America does will impact the world. So like it's gonna be if America did something, everybody's gonna know. Okay, people forget that America just had to raise that debt ceiling a few years ago. You really forget that shit. Now, if you want to talk economics, there could be an argument said over keeping the economy moving. For example, if you do hire these people and just give out free money, well, that will stimulate the economy because they're going to spend their money. They're going to buy houses, cars, which is going to keep gas stations open, keep malls open, keep Amazon pumping, and keep those jobs going. So that argument could be said for that. But at this point, I think America has just let so much go with no real attention on what they're doing, that I think Trump is somebody like Trump is needed to come in and just shake shit up, and but where he does shake it up, make sure there's a stop on it, on money. So I was telling my spouse earlier today about the situation with immigrants in America. So here's the thing. The problem with immigrants in America is not what most people are going to think it is. Okay. The way that any president or any leader can get attention about the immigrants being bad and coming there and the illegals and all that, is to focus on the crime that the immigrants are supposedly doing. Right. But if you really think about that for literally 2 fucking seconds, as a genuine independent thinker and not just believing what somebody else said, you would see why crime is actually pretty fucking good for a country. Right? Because what does crime mean for that country? Crime means free labor. Because that's what you're going to do when you go to prison. You're going to end up being free labor or incredibly cheap labor. Prisons are essentially slave labor. That's a good thing for the country. So next thing you have to do is ask yourself, well, why would richer countries not want poor immigrants? And why do richer countries not have problems when richer people come there? See, the base level citizen is usually too dumb to think this deep into it, and they usually don't think very deep into it. Okay. And they think it's all about skin color and rich and poor country. Which the skin color usually doesn't have a lot to do with it. The reason why immigrants end up being an issue wherever they go, especially if they come from a poor country, is because you have a very high chance of essentially the richer country just giving the poorer country money. See, Mexico does not want to stop their people going to America. No South American country does not want to stop their people from going to North America. Okay. Any poor country in Europe or around Europe, Romania does not want to stop their people from going to Germany. If anything, they'll bust them out there. Why is that? I was telling my spouse this earlier today. Why is that? See, the reason why that is because, okay, let's use like Romania and Germany, for example, right? Right. Now, it's harder in Europe because Europe doesn't incarcerate people anywhere near the same rate that America does, right? And again, America would highly benefit from this supposed crime that's coming from Mexico, because now because that inevitably turns into free slave labor, right? You should, in that context, you should want those criminals to come to America, and I think that's where. But Trump knows how to talk to the average dumb motherfucker, and that's what they want to hear. But the way America incarcerates people, you should want that. America should want that the criminals to come to North America. Because they'll fill up them prisons real fast and have that slave labor pumping. All right. But so after that's being said, what is the so it's clear that there's not a lot of crime or anywhere near the same levels of crime as they're trying to spread in mainstream media, because that's a win for America, and it's a win for the poor country. Because you get the criminal out the poor country, and now the criminals are slave labor in the rich country. So that's a win-win for both sides. But it's clear that that's not the problem. What is really the problem? I'll tell you the problem. The problem is when, let's say, like Peter from Romania moves to Germany, and then he goes to Germany and he works in Germany, right? See, and this is going to confuse a lot of basic people on Earth. This is going to confuse the hell out of them. See, when Peter from Romania goes to Germany and works and gets a German wage and buys a German car and a German house, guess what else Peter from Romania is doing? He's going to send that money back to Romania. So what did Peter just do? He literally hand gifted euros to another country. Tax-free. No strings attached. He literally just mailed the money back. And it's out of Germany's control. They can't control it. Or say Pedro goes to America and he goes, works in a job, right? Let's say Pedro is a doctor and he go America and he gets a doctor wage, he buys a doctor house and he buys a doctor car. Guess what else Pedro's gonna do? He's gonna siphon money back to fucking Mexico. So Mexico's getting all that kickback. It's a win-win for Mexico. They getting rid of a citizen and they getting more money back for him in his place. That's a win for him. And it's a lose. It's relatively overall it's a loss for North America because North America is losing that money by being sent off to the poor country. That is the reality of why immigration. That is a core reality of the real reason behind why countries don't like immigration like that. It has nothing to do with the crime rates. That's a very small situation compared to the whole thing. And people really don't care about culture for real. If you really dive into it, people can let go of culture. It's the money. So let's say you let in a million. Let's say you let in a million immigrants. Legal doesn't matter. Let's say you send in you let in a million, right? And out that million sends $20 back to their home country. That's 20 million US dollars gone just like that. With no strings attached. It's just poof, disappear, and Mexico just got $20 million a year. Think with your fucking noggin. That's what it has nothing to do with crime. Nothing to do with crime. That is a pathetic escape route that just hides some personal issue with the problem. That's the problem. See, why is it that Czech Republic don't got a problem with when I come to Czech Republic? Look, when it came time to get a residency, I didn't have to show them proof of my bank account. I didn't have to none of that shit. I was recorded saying, well, I'm just going to try again if y'all reject me, so I don't care. I literally said that on recording in court. You want to know why they let me in? Because that passport says North America, and they know they get ready to get some North American dollars for free for me just being here. They going to let me walk. They going to let me moonwalk into a poor country. But the other way, the other way, you don't work like that. Because they getting ready to get money from me for my existence being here. Alone. One way or another. They going to get paid from me. Czech Republic is going to get money out of me just from my existence. One way or another. Let's say I don't have any money. But guess what? I got family back in the States that does. They have money. Or my family comes here to visit me. Yeah, see, you're not supposed to think like that. Because that's reality. So now my dad comes here, my cousin comes here, my brother comes here. They buying plane tickets on Lufthansa, the German air company. They gonna come here. They bringing their American dollars here to give it all to them. See, they want you here when you come from a rich country. It ain't got nothing to do with being black or white. At that point, they want them dollars, especially when they ain't not a rich country themselves. They want that money. See. But see, it doesn't work the same the other way around too well. Right? See, like, motherfuckers out in Romania. See, motherfuckers in Mexico ain't sending Pedro in Massachusetts money. They're not doing it. It don't go that. It doesn't work the other way around. See, the Americans ain't getting pesos. They don't want pesos. It doesn't work that. See, that's the real problem with it. It has nothing to do with crime and rape and murders and all that shit. That's just stupid shit you tell the stupid motherfuckers because they don't know how to think for themselves. It's a free siphoning of money. Like I said, just do basic math. If you let in 1 million immigrants and out of the million immigrants, every immigrant send their family $20 per year back home. That's $20 million per year gift wrapped to that country. They didn't even have to do anything. They didn't have to do anything. Didn't have to do a thing. And Mexico, let's use America as an example. Mexico's not going to be mad about that. because Mexico ain't even had to do nothing. Okay, because like I said, in the whole trade off, Mexico loses a citizen, so now they ain't got to feed, bathe, house a citizen, worry about him, and on top of that, they getting money back for him while he gone. Mexico ain't mad about that. That is a win-win for them, for that country, for the poor country. It's a win-win. But it's a it's a loss for North America, right? In terms of money, in the money deal, right? Because for every bit let's say Pedro does go to work, get a job, right? For every amount that he won't pay in taxes, he's sending some of that back home to his family, and Mexico's getting that money. It's shocking. Like I said, like, I find it weird how like people just the thought processes. America, the country benefits. The citizen lives in a fucking barrio and shit's annoying. My local school is taking resources from our children to teach foreign kids English. I don't know where you are, Goldilocks. Are you sure it's not one of the? Are you sure you're not the one being short sighted on this? Well, yeah, probably, yeah, maybe. Yeah, free slave labor, dope. The social cohesion of the culture is way more important. I live in Southwest. Everything to do with crime rates and their shit culture. Word. 80. I've been thinking about joining the military at 27. I have a career here with my CDL, but I just need a change of scenery and pace. What advice would you give before deciding to join? Xavier, you think about joining the military at 27? I have a career with my CDL. So it sounds like you're in America because you named it, you called it CDL. I don't know if they call it the same thing in another country or not. But again, I'm just so far removed. I'm trying to think of the best thing. Like if my son were to ask me what to do. I wow. The only time I've ever recommended the military to anybody is if they grew up with a poor single mother. That's the only time I've ever like I just immediately say yes to him because he wanted to talk to me. He's at my dad's church. It was this dude, and he wanted to talk to me about it and what I should do. And that's why I had a pretty girlfriend at the time. I took her with me. I had a pretty girlfriend at the time, so he was probably impressed by that. But that was the only time I've ever told anybody to. I immediately say yes. If you grew up with a single mother and you're a man, you need to go. But 27, CDL, military, because military is gonna take up your life, dude, and it sucks. I didn't stay long at all. But it's gonna the military is not like a regular job where you just go for 8 hours and go home and and just and think about it, right? It's not like police training or firefighter training where you go in and then you just you can just go home and think about it for a minute and then just not go back, right? Like it's not like that. Like military, you are 100% in there and you are 100% theirs, right? It's very little you just relaxing. All right. Like, okay, I would recommend it if you're the type of guy who needs that camaraderie and you need that. That's the only way I can recommend it. If you like, if you okay, if you could think of a fraternity and be like, yeah, I would love to do some shit like that, right? If you're a person, if you're one of those kind of people, then I say it'd be a good idea. Frat brothers, those frat guys need to join the military. Those people who get in with a group of people like that, and they got to depend on each other and all that shit and be told what to do. If you're, I'm not saying anything's wrong with it, because people are just, there's different people on Earth, right? If you're one, if you're a loner kind of person, well, that's the thing. You never really know who's gonna turn into what. That's the thing. I don't know why I didn't beat, but I happen to. Oh, here it is, Bruce Lee. What's up? Check your email about the 36-year-old man child. Okay. 36-year-old man child. But like, if this is the thing. When here's when you, because you're essentially going to be locked. I see it right here. If any situation where you're going to be locked.
Hey there.
Any situation where you're going to be locked, essentially locked in prison, because that's what the military is going to do. Is going to be, you're going to be locked in. Oh, you're going to be locked in prison.
Hey there.
Right. And the thing is, when you get locked in prison, you never know who's going to turn into what. You just never know. You never know who's gonna turn into what. It's one of those things like trying heroin, where you just don't know the person you are until you try it. And it's a sad situation, because once you try it, like, you have a high chance of fucking yourself up if it doesn't work out. Which is fucked up to say. But it's true. It's like I said, because I remember when I tried heroin, heroin just immediately, like, there's, from everybody I can see, I've ever seen who try heroin, it's always the same two responses, and I go with one response. There's one person who says when they tried it, they just felt like they were being hugged and they were warm. I didn't feel any of that. What I felt was I just immediately did not care about anything at all. Like, nothing. Nothing was valuable. Like, it sounds like it'd be fun, but like, it's kind of scary if you really think about it. Like, really think about that. It's like the concept of when kids, of when people tell you, like, oh, kids, they need to eat every 2 hours, and they wake up every 2 hours, and you think, oh, well, yeah, they'll just sleep through the night and they'll just wake up every 2 hours in the daytime. Like, no, they wake up every 2 hours, 24 hours a day. Right? Is that thing. Like, so when I say, like, heroin, what that did, it just made me not care about anything. I mean, it made me not care about any, like, you just don't care. And it's up to you to dig your way out of it, if you can, right? And I think the military is the same thing. It's one of those straight shots. And there's no way to simulate it. You can't simulate it. There's no way to simulate being locked up. There's no way to simulate being locked up, relatively speaking, against your will, right? Because you can't feel it. You can't. Some things you just have to go through in life on your own. So honestly, I can't recommend it, because I don't know you. There's a bunch of, and even if I did, I wouldn't know what you could turn into once you go in there. There's some guys who turn out exactly how you would think, and there's other guys who, just flip and lose it. And you just never know. Let's watch this, because I'm going to get off in a minute. I'm going to watch this just because I got it up now. It's almost 10. I'm getting fucking tired.
Hey. How you doing? Good. You just want to come out and talk to me real quick? Yeah, sure. What's your name? I'm Mason. You're Mason? Yeah. What's going on? Oh, my mom just came in my room, told me I had to get out. Yeah? Oh, hi.
You're getting him out of here.
We're going to figure out what's going on.
Can
you believe that? Michelle. Want to come out and talk to Deb quick?
Get him out of here. I feel up in the way too much.
You talk to Deb.
Okay, come on. Simon. Okay. Let's go.
What's up, Simon?
Drugs. He has beat me up for months.
Let's go in here.
Even my roommate goes to door to involve him because he's a good guy. I'm almost 60 years old, Deb.
Mm-hmm.
And I let him move in, and he's a druggie.
How long has he been living here?
4 years now.
4 years? Okay.
Said I pushed him out. I don't want him in here.
Okay, so what happened today? This is Emma. Come on in.
I went up because he did something last night that he shouldn't have done.
Okay.
With my car.
Okay.
And I simply quietly said, Mason, you can't drive my car anymore, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I says, my car and I just don't trust you.
Okay.
And he blew a gasket. He's been in my face, spitting at me, pushing at me, taking my phone, throwing my phone. He threw himself down the steps and told, yeah, I'm going to tell everybody you threw me down the steps. I never touched him.
Okay.
Why would I do that? He's got to get out of here. He needs help. And he's taking me down with him.
Okay.
I've called Unified before and they tried telling me how we can help him, but he doesn't want help.
Okay. Okay. So like then today you just went and told them that
that he's not taking my car.
Taking a car, okay.
That's all I said.
And then what happened? Then
he flew off his bed, he chased me down the steps, he grabbed my phone, he got in my face like this, going like this, spitting on me.
Okay.
And then he said, I'm taking your phone. He threw my phone down.
Okay.
And it came apart.
Okay.
He said, I'm throwing myself down the steps and telling everybody you pushed me. And he did. They saw it in the driveway. I looked over them and I said, call them. I don't know if it was Shelly.
Are you talking about like these stairs or the house? Oh, okay, okay.
He threw himself down there and said, I pushed him.
Okay.
He cannot live here anymore.
Okay.
He can't.
Okay.
36, almost 37.
Okay.
And whose name is on the car?
Mine.
So as far as that, so then he threw himself down, so like the neighbors were outside, you said?
They saw him go tumbling down because
okay.
I think Corey was trying to say something to us, you know, Corey.
Okay.
The mentally challenged boy.
Oh, yep.
And he's such a sweetheart. And I think he was just trying to say something to us. And then they stopped looking at us and they said, call the cops. Because he wouldn't let me.
Okay. So
well, I say this, right, first off, the big red flag was they knew somebody else directly by name. The police knew somebody else. Did y'all catch that? Yeah, she goes, yeah, you know, like the whatever his name was, the mentally challenged boy. And they go, yeah. First red flag, the police knew somebody in that neighborhood by first name. That means a lot of police calls that happen.
Then you said there was some stuff that's gone on before, like this?
Oh my God, over and over and over and over. He's threatened me. He's been in my face. I can't take it anymore.
Okay. And I take it he's got nowhere else to go, I'm assuming.
Nowhere else to go.
Okay.
This is insane.
We gotta figure this out. Hey, Mason, come over here.
I was sleeping.
What's going on? Okay. So, what, did this just start this morning? She wants
to started 10 minutes ago. She goes, you're not taking my car anymore. That's my car. I don't need her car.
Okay.
And then she just starts going in. I say, I'll be out. I got to work in a couple hours. I'll be out. I said, you got to give me more than a day, though. I said, I'm a resident here. I said, I got to have longer than the end of the night.
Okay, let's go here with...
What's up, dude?
Yeah.
That was sick as fuck last few weeks.
This is actually insane. Like, I'll pack my stuff up. I'll be out of here before I even go to work.
What's your...
You're doing good, man.
Like, yes, your card.
And I'm just trying to reason with her. I'm like, what is going on? What's going on?
518 grand. If you want to add Michelle and Mason to the call, do you have other places you could stay?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
All right, why don't you have a seat on the stairs for me? I gotta check in with them.
I want to get some socks. I want to get my shit and get out of here now.
Well, instead of having you go back in there right now and kind of stir things back up, let's just
stir things up.
No, I know you. I'm not saying, I didn't mean to say you weren't, but just to kind of keep things cool, we're gonna have you.
I'm the nicest fucking guy. I don't want her in there lying.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go check with what they're saying. If you just want to have a seat for me real quick. Ooh, cat. Ah, dang it. What's its name?
He can come out.
Okay.
The other one can't, though.
Okay.
The other one's coming with me. That's what I'm most worried about.
How do I do that? You gotta go.
Huh?
I'll talk to you. I'll talk in a second. Do you need to talk or?
Yeah, I was just trying to see, I guess, kind of what's
We'll be
touch base here. Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, that part. Well, the hiccup we have is that he lives here and he set up residency, so we gotta, it's not like we can just tell him he's gotta leave, because this is his house.
What about me?
So,
This is
well,
my
no,
house.
I know that, but technically you have to evict him, because you let him live here, set up this is his house, so ultimately if he doesn't want to leave, we can't force him to leave. You'd have to actually go through an eviction to actually evict him to get him out of your house. if he doesn't choose to want to leave on his own. Like if we say, hey, you gotta go, you leave. If he agrees, great. But that's the hiccup when people, even though just same as if you have a spouse, you can't just kick them out because you
You're
don't.
wondering if when he's gonna fall off. That's what
So yeah, I mean that was like that's one hiccup is trying to figure out getting him.
Well, how do I do that? Because he's gotta go.
Yep, and yeah, do you have some?
Huh?
I'll talk in a second. Do you need to talk or?
Yeah, I was just trying to see, I guess, kind of where was.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, ultimately, that part would be going through the courthouse and doing an eviction through the courthouse. You have to go up there and file papers, and then there's a hearing and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, that's to get him truly out of here. I mean, if he chooses to leave on his own, that's great. But I'm going to guess he's probably not going to do that.
Okay, so we're gonna wait till I get hurt.
Yeah. Well, I it's not my choice. I don't.
No, it's not your choice,
It's the
Dad.
law. It sucks.
I know, it's the freaking law.
It sucks. It sucks.
So sick of the law, I could just puke all these
Yeah.
little freaking
Yeah, that's what I'm
loopholes
thinking.
and-
Yeah,
Basically,
it does
it's just a
suck. I mean,
shitty
trust me, I'd love it
situation.
if we could just say you gotta go, but we can't do that. Now, granted, we still can deal with whatever's going on here today, but in the bigger
What
picture,
about my safety?
yeah, in the bigger, we gotta figure out what's all going on. I wouldn't let him in yet. He
Don't
wants
let the
to.
cats in or him.
No.
I'm gonna start getting touchy.
Just 1 second. Let's not. Hey, let's stay out here.
I'm gonna start
We just.
backing myself.
I know that, but we're gonna stay out here until we kind of figure out what's going on.
It's cold out here.
If you want
I was in bed sleeping.
I get it, but just.
Okay, so as far as she said today, she went upstairs to tell him that he can't use the car anymore because he did something with the car.
Here, Mason. We'll just be a few more moments, all right?
So then she told me he couldn't use the car anymore. So then he got up, got all pissy, and was kind of in her face, and then threw her phone, and then eventually, like supposedly he got here and he threw himself down the stairs. She said he said I'm gonna throw myself down the stairs and then say that you did it, and then supposedly like Adrian and maybe Shelly were outside. So I don't know what they all saw.
He said, same story pretty much lines up. They got in an argument with the car. She said, I want you out.
Yeah.
He said she was like reaching for him, and
You've already been talking longer than the entire event. You've already been talking longer than the entire thing.
Mason, we haven't. We've literally.
No, but she's already been talking longer than the entire event.
Okay.
took
Well,
place.
okay, here's the thing. Yeah, like I agree, Bruce. Like it is a shitty situation all around, and it's ultimately just he said, she said. But here's the thing, man. This is what I learned a while back. Never, ever, ever, ever move into a woman's house. Right? Never. Okay. Never move in unless you have the means. Okay. The only time the only time I would ever recommend living with a woman is if you clearly have the means to pay for everything in the house and kick her out and you don't need her at all. If you are in a time of desperation and need, I wouldn't even trust living with a mom at that point once you become a grown man, because here's the thing. Women do not want to take, very few women genuinely want to take care of a grown man, financially. There are some women who like to be pimped. It does happen. There are some women who like to they'll do anything just to keep a man in the house because they feel safer with a man in the house. But here's the thing, man. I know very few stories where it works out. Because here's the thing. If you go in there and you live under a woman, you are essentially always homeless. Okay? Even if you're living with the woman. But if you're living under her name and her rules and all that, this is just the reality that you have to face. If you're living under a woman's name on a house or anything like that, you are always homeless. Okay? You're just having a temporary place at the time and she just hasn't gotten mad yet. Okay, now I'm not saying this guy is not a piece of. Maybe he could be a piece of shit who's throwing at. Who knows? Maybe she. Let's take the other example. Let's take this video at face value for what it is. He was abusing. I guess that's his mom or whatever. The older woman. Let's say the 36-year-old guy. Let's say he was doing all that. Right. The number one mistake was that he went in living with a woman in the first place. That just never works out well. Very rarely. I've never seen it work out well, but I'm sure it works out well somewhere. That just doesn't work out. I would never advise anybody to do that. Because no woman wants to be over a man like that. Okay, like I said, the odds of a man finding it, especially when he's in need, by the time it comes to that point, are no. No. He should never even gone over there to live with an older woman, like unless he was just in a real bad spot, and even then you gotta always know what the game is. You always keep track of what the rules in the game are, because she don't want him there. She didn't want him there a couple days after he got there. She just didn't want to say it. Okay. You'd be better off living with a father or an older man, because men know what it's like. But see, women, women like boys when they babies and all that. But once they get grown, like, they just don't want to tell you. I mean, they just don't want to. They don't want to have to tell it to you. They hope you just figure it out. She don't want to watch no grown ass man. She don't want to see a grown ass man. She don't want to see a 36-year-old man walking and talking how he walks and talks, wearing a shirt like that at 36 years of age. She don't. Okay, let's say she was. Let's say that older woman is not his mom and she's fucking younger dudes, right? Like. She don't want that. She doesn't want that. She doesn't want that around her. And she was just hoping for a reason to get him out of there at that point. And there's a lot of older guys living with their moms right now because the economy's hard, dude. The economy's rough. Okay, she don't want you there. She doesn't want to have to tell. She doesn't want to have to tell you. All right, and that's the hard truth. What's up, Gaines Day? You had a busy day? I'm just ready to get out of here, man. I'm fucking tired. JM says women love to help you as long as you don't need. Yes, women love to help you as long as you don't need help. Women love to help you as long as they think that they'll get it back, in a bigger payment later. But if you some dude like him, he strikes me as the type of guy who hasn't done much with his life. You never know. He could be a programmer or something. I don't know. But from the initial, 3 minutes of looking at him and how he's walking, talking, I can pretty much deduce he probably hasn't done much with his life. She doesn't want that shit, dude. Just never live with a woman. Unless you can afford to take care of her at the drop of a hat and she knows it, never live with her. And even then, it's hard. Even then, because you walked in on that. You got to have, by the time you walk in like him, you got to walk in with some swagger. Like, you still the shit. But you got to compromise and all that, right? But you got to have a certain swagger. You really do. And I'm not saying, look, everybody hits hard times. Like, he hit a hard time. And guys, everybody hits a hard time, and you got to do what you got to do. But if you can help it, do not move in with a woman. You damn near be better off just going to the homeless shelter and figuring your own life out in there. As long as it's, you're not getting fights and shit like that. You'd probably be better off just going to a homeless shelter and figuring your life out and just using her as using this woman as just some side help, on the side or something. Women do amazingly well in life in every position when they are the peripheral, when they are the side dish. Okay. Women do great when they are literally like the side salad. That is when a woman does the best she can ever do in life. and be satiated, right? women do best when they are the mashed potatoes. Not even good mashed potatoes. Women do the best when they are like just some average ass mashed potatoes that are just warm, not too soupy, not too dry, with, you know what I'm saying, with the little butter that come in that little pack. Ain't even real butter. It's like margarine, and not even good margarine. It's like, I mean, like soybean oil and yellow food coloring. That is when woman does the best that she can ever do in life, when she is the average plate of mashed potatoes. Because here's the thing. Because if she fucks around and becomes some delicious mashed potatoes, she start thinking she deserved to be the main dish, and no woman does great as a main dish. All right, because then her greed never stops, and she keeps going until she just fucks her entire life up, right? Woman does the best when she is the average bowl of mashed potatoes next to any meat, right? I say below average. She is the best when she is below average mashed potatoes being served with any meat. I'm talking like soup kitchen meatloaf. There's a lot of bitches sitting next to soup kitchen meatloaf, and they below average mashed potatoes. And you know what? Them women are doing excellent in their role as below average mashed potatoes, right? And it's not. I'm not saying you don't. It's just you gotta be poor to be below average mashed potatoes or soup kitchen meatloaf. It's some dudes. Okay. It just depends on the world. There's dudes making, well into six figures, and in that world, that woman is below average mashed potatoes, right? There's dudes who are like professional golfers who are like shitty professional golfers. And in that world of women, she is the below average mashed potatoes. Now, she goes out into like the regular world, she'd be like, 5 stars, she'd be a steak, right? But in that world, she is below average mashed potatoes. And wherever she goes in as below average mashed potatoes, that will humble her. It should humble her at least a little bit, slow her down, and she will be able to excel at being submissive because she knows that she's below average mashed potatoes. There's more delicious servings of mashed potatoes out there, so she better not fuck up her spot on this dinner plate because she'll get scooped off real quick. You know what I mean? Just and put another serving of, you know what I mean, of taste just like homemade mashed potatoes, right? Some shit like that. And they use, 100% margarine. She gets scooped. That's the only time. It's the only time women act right. No woman is gonna act right when she's walking around and she's the steak. Yeah. She walking around like, yeah, I'm the steak. Cause now she walking around looking for a bigger steak, but she already, like Oprah Winfrey. She's walking around and she is the steak. Oprah Winfrey went too high. Charlize Theron, she was the steak. She went too high. Angelina Jolie, she was the steak. She walked out there. She went as high as she could be in the steak, and now she's a rotten steak. Don't nobody want to eat that steak now. Right, it's done. But if she could keep her role as below average mashed potatoes, yeah, anybody would eat some below average mashed potatoes. All right, I will tear some below average mashed potatoes up. Right, you heat it up, you can spice it up a bit. Just like mashed potatoes, you know what I mean? You spice it up, you put it in a different dress and put it in some different shoes and told to wear some makeup like that. And then below average mashed potatoes will turn into some delicious mashed potatoes. But as long as she remembers that she is below average mashed potatoes and she's humble, you can do something with her, right? But see, the problem comes in. See, you got a whole lot of women out there who are below average mashed potatoes thinking that they beef ribs or something, right? Like they thinking that they're so much better than what they are. And see they have to keep the mindset of being below average. That's what like you know when the motivational speakers be like, yeah, you gotta have the mindset to succeed. Like when men have to have the mindset to succeed to be successful. Women have to have the mindset to be average to be successful. It's a whole different game for them. Like, it's an entirely different game. You know, I'm gonna be like, yeah, you gotta wake up and you gotta think success. You gotta do this. And you gotta think success. See, women motivation speakers should be the complete opposite. Like, bitch, you gotta wake up and believe you below average. You gotta hope somebody can come around and ask you for a date. You see, and that's when women get desirable. That's when women succeed. They become desirable. It's just how it is. That is the reality of the differences between men and women. I don't know how I got off on the topic of mashed potatoes, but here we are. You know what's crazy, Bruce Lee? I'm gonna let y'all go. I was just on Instagram and Cardi B, I think I saved it. Where Cardi B, she said some wild, stupid shit sometimes, but she also said some real shit. I don't know how I stumbled on this. It was in my Instagram feed. I don't watch Cardi B, so I don't know how it came. But I'm gonna show you the clip I saved because it was real shit. If I can find it. How do you find bookmarks? Here it is. I bookmarked it. She was talking about the reality of where the fuck is it? Here it is. Is my phone on?
So if you and your man make the same amount of money, right? But only your man is the one that paying all the bills. How you ever gonna save up to like buy a house or buy a business? Because he's never gonna be able to afford to. So it's like certain things is like a joint thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like a work together. But I just be feeling like sometimes people, like the internet really be having people up from like real reality type shit. So it's like, all right, so your mom and dad used to work every single day, right? Mm-hmm. So your mom and dad used to work every single day so your mom could save her money and buy purses and your dad just pay all the bills. That's not how it works. It's either your mom was in the house cooking and cleaning every day, your dad was working, or they was both working to pay both the bills. Like, y'all be acting like y'all don't know what the that is like no more. Like, come on. So if you and your man make the same...
Yeah, she was saying some real shit. But the thing is, like, that is crazy. Like, I think I'm gonna make a video. I think I'm gonna make a funny video about that, or I'm gonna try to make a funny video about bitches succeed when they think they ain't shit. Like a woman is the most desirable when she's like dainty and quiet and shy and all that and pathetic. Like that's when women are like the most attractive. So you walk around just telling them like, yeah, bitch, you ain't like women's motivational speech should be just like, yeah, bitch, you ain't shit. You dumb as fuck. You ain't gonna never be shit. And just completely just right. Until she just like, and she gets all docile. And she just walks around like, oh, excuse me, sir, can I please have a piece of a croissant, please? Because now she's scared because the motivational, AD's motivational talk for women would guarantee her a man in 60 days. I should do that and sell those tapes. I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna try that if I get off this Nintendo spree I've been on lately. I'm gonna make AD's motivation tapes for women and just dog them out. Or like, you ain't shit. You ain't gonna never be shit. You smell like shit. You can't put your makeup on right. Look at your damn eyebrows. They all fucked up. Why you even put that shirt on today? You don't even match your pants. And just bash them for like an hour. And then show like a woman with like headphones on. And then watch her just slowly go. And turn feminine and be like, oh, well, excuse me, sir. I didn't mean to raise my voice, but I was just wondering if we can have some water and maybe watch TV together. Because now she's scared, right? Because she listened to my motivational tape for women, and it turned her into a successful woman, right? But see, women got it confused. They listen to male motivation talks, and it don't work the same. See, a man, he be like, yeah, I'm a man here. Yeah, you the shit. You need to go out there and take the world because it's fucking yours. You a fucking beast. And the man be like, yeah, I need to go do something. And he might fuck up a little bit, but at least he got the courage and, and the charisma swinging. Like, yeah, I'm the shit. Yeah, right? Yeah, and see, that's what gets pussy, right? At some point, you gonna get some pussy. At some point, you gonna get some pussy being like that, right? But on the back end, it doesn't work the same for women. Like, yeah, bitch, you the shit. Yeah, these men ain't shit. You better than them. Blah, blah, blah. And now next thing you know, you got bitches out there going, yeah, I'm this shit. You better come to me. Ain't nothing going on but the rent. What you talking about, girl? But girl, that man tried to talk to me. He ain't shit. and now she walking around bitter because she done got to listening to motivational speeches meant for men. And she done turned it. Is she all confused? Just make an 80. I'm gonna make an 80. Yeah, 80s motivational tapes for women. I'm gonna do that. I'm definitely gonna do it at some point, and just roast them. And just make sure and guarantee it. I guarantee. I'm gonna have an 80 guarantee. Like you will. If you follow my tapes and instructions, I guarantee you will find a man within 30 days. And if you but you got to keep up the dosage of the 80s tapes, because if you stop using 80s tapes and you listen to other dingbat bitches in your neighborhood, you gonna end up like them. It should be okay. After you buy my, and I should send out a contract with it, and they got to sign a contract. Right. If you are caught speaking with another woman, you are forever banned from listening to my tapes. Just flat out. No. Just no warning or nothing. Just boop. And I'm calling police on you. And police ain't even gonna do nothing because it ain't against the law right now. But I'm just gonna do it anyway. Just 911. Yeah, is a bitch in Topeka, Kansas. She signed my tapes and she said, and I have a contract that says that she cannot talk to women, and if she talks to women, she's contractually obligated to have to report her crime to you. Ain't even no crime. I'm just gonna say it. It is not even illegal, but I'm just gonna do it anyway, just to fuck with them, right? Use a VPN for wherever they at. And just call that fucking police station. You can go to prison. I'm out of here, man. I'm tired. I use the bathroom. I'll catch y'all later, man. Y'all have a good day tonight. And I'll try to live stream tomorrow, too. I'll catch you on the Flip Flip, man. Peace out.